This is something different for me. This is well, I've never met you. We've never met. We've spoken a few times, but this is kind of cool. Now you're almost the guiding light for baseball in New Zealand. You're trying to get this thing off the ground and trying to make it mainstream. How's mate? How are you? How's things?
Not too bad. Other than you brought me in the day after Shane Bond. I mean, he's like a local hero, and then you got me. So at least everyone will watch his one. No, it's good. In lockdown here in Auckland, so you got my two kids and my wife here, and I'm learning things that I didn't know I could do. So today I painted a fence, and the other day I built a little thing for the kids. So
Yeah.
I'm a builder, painter, and a bit of everything at the moment.
Full DIY tradesman. You're getting some skills.
Yeah, I had no idea I could do it, and now there's nothing I can't do.
You'll be replumbing the house soon, yeah? Putting in another ensuite or something.
She's asked me to do that, the wife, but I think I might do more damage.
Gold. Hey, now look, baseball. Look, we all love watching. Well, I think most of us enjoy watching baseball for the similarities in skill sets to cricket, and there's a lot of cricketers that follow baseball very closely. Why baseball?
Yeah, actually, the first part of the question, the Black Caps, I play with I play fantasy baseball with a lot of the Black Cap guys.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that a few years now. And they all love their baseball. That's how actually I met Shane 10 years ago. Just talking about baseball, and we met up a few times and just to talk about baseball. So he loves it. And when I was a kid, it was probably a bit lucky. I mean, I lived in Macrk, and that just ended up being the biggest club and basically the only club at the time. And I remember I was just really into baseball movies for some weird reason. Rookie of the Year, Angels of the Outfield, all the classics. And one day I was just driving to school with my parents, obviously, and there was a sign on the side of the road that said "Play Baseball." And I was 5 years old at the time, and me and my sister signed up and played for.
This was at 5.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And at that time, there was no fields. The field that they play at now used to be cows and horses and in the paddock next to us. So, and now they've got a whole facility to themselves with like 3-4 whole fields there. So it's developing, and it's come from essentially nothing to where it is now. It's pretty incredible.
What sort of participation, before we sort of get too far? How is it making inroads into your typical summer sports, your cricket and cricket?
Yeah, so cricket's obviously the main one, and then softball's like a younger cousin or older cousin, or I don't know. I don't want to offend anyone here, but softball's been quite a big sport here in New Zealand for many years, and we're the world champions. For that, so
that is going backwards, though, isn't it? Because I used to play. I played softball up until I went to college, and enjoyed it, loved it, because it was a whole lot quicker than cricket in terms of getting a turn at something. It was have a bat, and then you'd be out in the field, and you'd have another bat, and it was all just moved a bit quicker. That is taking a bit of a slide, though, isn't it? Because there's fewer clubs certainly around where I used to live and play in Lower Hutt. I played for Railways, which was one of the biggest sort of softball clubs around. It's dying a little bit, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It has a place. Baseball, what it has is an opportunity for kids. I got a college degree in the States, all paid for. Just because I played baseball. When in softball, you don't get that opportunity. And then obviously you can make the mega bucks in the big leagues. Compared to our Black Sox team are the best team in the world, and they all have full-time jobs on the side. So, so if you want to have a profession and do it and make a lot of money, baseball is a good pathway. But obviously, softball has a huge history in New Zealand. So I don't want to take away from anything
No.
that they've done as well, because we've some really good athletes, and I'm sure if they had played baseball from a young age and had been given a good opportunity, they may have been able to do something in baseball.
Yeah, it's kind of silly, isn't it? We've got cricket, which is a straight arm sport, and we've got softball, which is another straight arm sport. Biomechanically, it makes absolutely no sense to try and throw a ball, pitch your bowl a ball with a straight arm. Baseball's kind of got it right from the word go.
Yeah, other than it really messes up your shoulder.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's like in cricket, but yeah, I was a pitcher for my first
yeah,
15 years, and I can barely throw a ball now. So, um, and with softball, it's such a natural motion, I guess.
yeah,
They compare it to like when you're walking, you walk this way as
yeah,
opposed to walking like, because like that's how we just mechanically move.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean, these guys pitch every day, and
yeah.
some of the best pitchers in the world are still in their 30s, and um, so yeah, it's a bit weird. But I love cricket. I wish I had played cricket when I was a kid.
What what So you just didn't. You saw a sign and you took to baseball and you stayed with it, as opposed to sort of most New Zealanders playing softball or cricket in the summer. You always had that different route.
Yeah, the other advantage that I had with baseball was that there wasn't much competition.
Mm.
And so I would make every New Zealand team only because there was 15 people that trial.
Yeah,
Um, and it was just luck. And then I guess I just loved it so much that I just kept wanting to do it more and more. And then there was a group of us that kind of really stuck it out, and we all went to college and played professional and
yeah,
did some things around the world. So, and we kind of just motivated ourselves, and we had no coaches either. So,
mhm,
just kind of watched MLB players and
yeah.
saw what they were doing and try to compare their videos to our videos, and um, yeah, just learn as we went.
So you 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 did a university on baseball, basically. Baseball kind of paid for your university, so to speak. Mate, give me some background. I'm gonna go with, I don't know much about the infrastructure of baseball in New Zealand, and I don't know much about it, how it works. But how did you get to university or paid for and through baseball? How did that work?
That's in the States. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, so at the time I was throwing decently hard. I was throwing like 91 miles an hour.
Sweet.
Um, and being from New Zealand, obviously, we're kind of raw. So a lot of coaches thought that they could kind of mold me into something
Okay.
fantastic. And at the time, I was getting a few, wouldn't say offers, but a lot of interest from major league teams as well.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to go down the college route and just try and get an education paid for, and try and have a career and a degree at the end of it. Um, so, and then I thought at the end of it I would get drafted, which I didn't. So, it ended up coming back, and this I played in a couple of years around the world, and yeah, then retired and got married and had a family.
Wait, where did it take you? Where did you get to by playing it for a couple of years around the world? Where do you end up?
So I played 2 years in Canada, um, played 2 years in Australia, played in the Australian
Yeah,
Baseball League for
yeah.
Brisbane
Yeah.
when I was a young kid. So um, yeah, I mean that's Australia, Canada, and America, and then I played with our national Diamond Black team
Yeah.
in Taiwan and Australia as well. So.
Right. So you've kind of travelled on the back of it. You've done okay in terms of, with cricket. When you get further up and you end up travelling and you go to some crazy places, and it's kind of like someone else is paying for this. This is cool. When I get to go and play a bit of cricket, that's cool. So you've had that taste and that lifestyle on the back of baseball.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, is doing the thing you love and doing it for as long as you can, and not falling too far behind where everyone else is. Um, so yeah, I was lucky enough to have my wife come around with me,
Yeah.
and all the teams that I played for, they all gave her housing and flights and stuff as well. So was very lucky in that regard that she was able to come around with me, and yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. There's a new website now that's come around it's called Baseball Jobs Overseas, where people can literally go to any country they want and get a full experience paid for, and have their flights and accommodation and food all paid for, and just go play for the local club team. And you can do that all through Europe and Australia, New Zealand now. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Mate, that's cool. If there was a cricket equivalent, I tell you right now, there would be thousands and thousands and thousands of Pakistanis and Indian young kids. Please, sir, I want to play cricket in your country. The amount of emails or messages I get on on the back of Twitter and all these things, the amount of the love of that game, and they just want a chance and just want to come to your country and play cricket. It's quite amazing. So I think baseball, that's a cool little place, little niche before it gets too big and those things get overrun. So you just put your name down, you can go and play. How do you prove your attributes? You have to put up some footage and those on that baseball job website?
Yeah, there's a few New Zealanders that have done it now. They they just put their stats, and I'm sure some videos and stuff like that. And all the coaches sign up for it as well. So they're looking for a pitcher or a shortstop, whatever it is. They'll have a list of the players there that they can select from, and then I guess they'll make contact. And yeah,
Right, that's cool, and that opens it up a lot. So what are you doing now? You said you used to throw some gas, now it's sort of shoulders a bit wrecked, and what are you doing now with baseball? Where are you trying to take it? What are you doing with it?
so I retired probably 5 years ago. I ended my career as a pitcher, and
you just retired as a pitcher, or you retired full stop?
Well, I retired with no thought of ever doing it again until Auckland got its own professional league. Last year. So I decided last year that I was going to make a comeback, but not as a pitcher because of the shoulder. And I have actually bought a business, which is a batting cage, and we do baseball, softball, and cricket, like pitching machines and stuff. So I got a hit every day, and with all that practice, I guess I was good enough, and I had a pretty good year this year. I won best hitter in the ABA, or fan vote for ABA for the whole league, which is kind of cool. When I was kind of not sure if I was going to be on the team to start the season because no one had really seen me hit before. It's kind of like cricket when you have batters and bowlers. It'd be like I think you actually talked about it. I watched a little bit of your one from yesterday. Just because I love Shane Bond.
Me too. Don't worry about
that. And I think you're talking about Tim Southey. If he really wanted to be a batter, he could. Same type of thing with me. Is I always thought I could be a pretty good batter. But was never really given the opportunity. Didn't really put my mind to it. And the last 2 years I really did, and I had a pretty good season.
So, and this is one of those funny things about baseball and cricket, which are kind of similar. Bowler pitcher can't bat, often not very good at all. And certainly in baseball and in a few of the leagues, the pitcher doesn't have to bat. There's a replacement batter in the lineup. Why don't you get a hit? Is it the same case that in baseball training that you got to pitch and you're pitching all the time, so you don't really get an opportunity to bat? Or how does that sort of equal out?
Yeah, so I think the main reason they implemented it is called the DH rule, which is the designated hitter. The only reason they did that was actually to protect the pitchers, because they invest so much money into them, where they would actually didn't want them to get hurt. And I think, old school baseball was they never had the DH, and they implemented it probably, I'm going to make a guess and say 20 years ago, just to kind of make it more interesting, because the pitchers aren't very good at batting.
Why not?
So
why not? I mean, I know why not in cricket, but why not so much in baseball?
What's like, why didn't Chris Martin open the batting for you guys?
Because we just didn't get an opportunity to have a hit. No. I know why in cricket, because as a bowler, you go to club practice and you bowl all night because everyone wants to face the best bowlers. And so your opportunity to bat is limited. And then it happens as you go up the levels as well. You get to first class level, domestic level, and same sort of thing. You bowl, and you do some fielding, and the opportunity to bat is limited. And then again, when you make the New Zealand team, similar sort of range. You do get more batting at that level because these extra bowlers will come along and sort of help out at trainings, but you still get a limited amount of batting time. But surely baseball that definitely is a sport you can't pitch all night, because you can't chuck it all night, because we know that from looking at the baseball leagues in the US. The pitchers are on and then they're off and they don't pitch for 5 days. So there's plenty of time to work on your batting.
That's a good point. I think that probably the reason is that that they spend so much time on their craft. And so for me, as a hitter now, I am literally hitting like 2 hours a day at the gym for an hour. And by the end of it, you're kind of exhausted and to really focus on something else. And I mean, even though the pitchers don't look like they do anything else because they just throw, they're doing a whole bunch of stuff on the side with weighted balls and band work, and they're in the gym and doing all this other stuff as well. So they're just trying to keep their bodies as fresh and as ready as they can be, so that they don't hurt themselves, because it's a different type of the way that pitchers work out compared to the way that hitters work out is different as well. So you want your body kind of in the best shape for that, as opposed to the opposite.
But the question still exists that's bowlers in cricket should be better batsmen than they typically are, and it should be the way that the pitchers are better hitters in baseball. There is an element that history dictates the sort of perception that because a baseball pitcher's never really been able to hit very well, that they never will hit very well. Is there sort of any push to change that?
Yeah, there's actually a few players now in the minor leagues that they refer to them as two-way guys. There's a guy that's just come over from Japan, Shohei Ohtani. He throws 100 miles an hour, and he hit 21 home runs this past season because he actually injured his arm, so he got a bat more. But he was going to be like the first major league two-way guy for a long time anyway. And there's been a few players drafted in the last couple of years that have been looked at both, because typically at college, the university in the States, the pitchers are still hitting. It's only at professional baseball where they really get them to pick or choose.
So there's no real point because of that DH rule and baseball trying to protect the pitcher and also have the most attacking games, so the most runs. They want more runs, so a pitcher will not bat as often. There's almost no reason for pitchers to even try and bat, is there? There's no reason for them to really get that much better, because at the pinnacle, Major League Baseball, they don't have to bat anyway.
Well, in the major leagues, there's two leagues. So one of the leagues still has a no DH rule. So the pitchers do better than that. I guess it comes down to money, probably. There's no reason for the pitchers, because they don't care how they bat. If they get out every at bat the whole season, they wouldn't care.
But the pitcher is that whole team almost revolves around the quality of the pitcher and the bullpen. Then the pitchers that are lined up to come in after, the whole attacking game is lined up around that one person that holds the ball on the top of the mound, isn't it? It's so different than cricket, where if you're having a bad day, there's four. Well, no, you can do that in baseball, but everything is wrapped around that one pitcher to start with.
Yeah, and it certainly feels like that when you are the pitcher. It feels like all the pressure's on you. But it is definitely a team sport, and you need the whole team to kind of work together. And then you've got the guys playing defense behind the pitcher as well. So if they're messing up, which happens a lot more in baseball than I think it does in cricket, where there are quite a few errors. And every time you screw up in the field, that means the pitcher has to throw more pitches. And a lot of the time, pitches are limited to a certain amount of pitches per game anyway.
Right, so 5 years ago, when you ditched the pitching, if you like, when you stopped pitching because of your shoulder, what kind of damage was in there? What sort of a mess was it in?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I got a tear in my labrum and just generally sore every time I picked up the baseball. So I knew it was time to kind of stop. And I mean, there was nothing really driving me. The competition here for the local competition isn't professional, or it's pretty low level. Yeah. So no really reason to kind of strain it anymore. So I just decided that enough was enough and time to focus on my business.
How much pain were you in when you were pitching? What did you put yourself through? Because certainly when you're getting paid for it, so cricket, because it is professional, you put yourself through a whole lot more. But it's still a recreational sport that you loved and enjoyed. How much pain would you pitch with and put up with?
I think some days it was a solid 8 out of 10, where I did really, really painful. But a lot of the time you're trying to keep your job. So if you go up to the coach and tell him your arm's sore, you might not have a job the next day. Well, you probably wouldn't, but it just feels like that sometimes. And so you're really trying to, and you're from the other side of the world, so you're trying to prove a point. So I mean, obviously it did do damage, but at the time you don't think it's going to do damage. You just think it's a little bit sore, and you'll ice it after. But
were you a pill popper? I mean, certainly when I was playing cricket, I ate way too many prescription medication to get rid of pain and to hide it and to numb it. Did you go down that route to try and legally, of course, or prescription wise, to try and look after the shoulder?
Yep, ibuprofen, ibuplain was our kind of our motto.
Yeah, true.
So I'd be doing everything legal as much as I could.
Yeah, okay.
Even as a hitter, kind of still trying to get. I'm playing out in the outfield now, so a couple of throws I need to make in the game. I've got to have my meds ready for those.
Why aren't you sitting on first base so you don't have to throw at all?
First base is a bit too close for the action for me. I like standing out in the outfield, and then if you do screw up, the coach is quite far away, so he can't yell at you anyway.
So you still have to throw, and I'm sure you still throw a few hard pitches. You still muck around. You still must have a bit of pitching in between your batting when you're just at trainings, etc.
Yeah, I like to refer to it as saving my bullets. So most games I've probably got 2 bullets in there where I can really ramp up for them. With pain, of course, but I know that if I need it, it's there. So often in the outfield, it's just basically keeping the ball in front, catching the balls in the air, and just kind of getting the ball in. There are the odd times where you really have to let it fly, and as long as it's not 2 in back-to-back innings or anything, that would test me. So
you're really down to a couple of heavy throws, couple of big throws now in a game. Yeah, is that right?
I mean, I could do more. By probably the 3rd one, I'd be on the ground. Well, mentally in the ground anyway.
Yeah.
I don't even think my coach is aware of it, so hopefully he doesn't watch this one.
He'll never see it, mate. There'll be 14 people. Okay, wow, that's scary. That the shoulder's that bad, and that so day-to-day life, it's no good as well. Reaching up above your head and those sort of things kills you.
Yeah, it's only when I'm reaching over my head trying to get a box back or something like that I can really feel it when I'm pulling back. Yeah. I do a lot of shoulder work trying to strengthen it for the season, but didn't really help this past year. So
what's the point? What's the point? There's no point. All this prehab stuff that the physios are. There's just no point. You might as well just go out there cold. Don't worry about that. So just hitting now. and that's been what, 2 hours a day in the cage. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's a lot more fun than pitching.
Huh.
I'd say it's a similar thing for cricket as well.
Yeah.
When, like you were saying before, you just hit the bowl to people. When I think the batting is probably the fun side of it.
Yeah.
You only do the pitching and the bowling because you're good at it.
Yeah.
But no one actually enjoys doing it unless you're in the game.
Yeah. So how much? So you created a business around a few batting cages, and that now you utilize for your own benefit. That's smart.
Yeah, we sell all of the baseball and softball gear as well. So
yeah.
I look the part as well because I got all the new gear that comes in.
You're the full kit guy. You're that guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So how's that going? Because I was back in New Zealand just recently, and I went into a few sports shops at home, and the softball, let alone baseball, but the softball section is almost non-existent in a lot of sports shops that would have had a reasonable section. So it seems like there is a lot fewer stores selling a wide range. So that kind of gives you a massive opening in that area.
Yeah, it's definitely a niche market. There's like we said earlier, baseball and softball are relatively small.
Yeah.
In New Zealand, so there's myself and one other company in Avondale that basically have the run of the baseball softball community, and I mean, it goes all right with all the support of the baseball community. Gets us through, and the cages hopefully just pay for themselves. I know it's not probably going to do it this year because of COVID, but it gives us a store to be in, and it's cool to be able to see all the kids train. And I do private lessons, and I coached the New Zealand under 13 team for the last 5 years. So you get to take all my teams in there, and basically help baseball grow, which is pretty cool.
So you got all the pitching machines and bowling machines, etc. They're all loaded up there, so it's all pretty much go in, stand there, and hit some balls and nice and easy.
Yeah, a lot of people just use hitting off the tee, like tee ball.
Okay,
It's kind of the best way to train in baseball because basically takes all the variable out of it when it just becomes you and a dead ball. When someone's throwing you the ball or a machine is throwing you the ball, it just basically ends up being timing. And if you're really trying to work on your actual swing mechanics, then a tee is great because it'll show you what you're doing, what spin you're putting on the ball, where you're hitting it. If you're hitting it into the ground, into the air too much, you can kind of iron out your swing. So most of the time, people come in, we're doing that, and people actually throwing to each other. Kind of probably the better way of training, even though we have machines. Machines are more for the social people that are coming in, and
that's all. That's all I'm thinking. Just standing there and a big bucket of balls, and I can just swing and have some giggles. But that there is a that's a big draw card though, in that kind of a way. Just being able to stand there and hit balls and just have a giggle, because it's not like cricket where you've got to defend and you're sort of trying to just not get out. In essence, baseball, you actually are trying to hit it. I know it's not all about that, but you are trying to hit it over the stands. So that must be great fun socially.
Yeah, it's good when you get a little bit angry as well. You want to come in and give some balls a bash. So we got a couple of people that come in during their lunchtime because they have a really bad day. They'll come through and they say, just give me one round, and they'll go in and they'll be swearing and making some noise in there, and then they'll leave and they'll be all happy. So it's good for some anger management issues too.
Hey, you're doing a public service. That's fantastic. Hey, so how does it work off the field? What's the infrastructure? What's the governing bodies like in New Zealand? How are they progressing? How are they pushing the sport?
So we've been doing really well. We had Ryan Flynn, who was our CEO for the last 10 years, and he did incredible stuff. The fact that he took it from where I was with playing with horses and cows next to me to having a professional team. And I don't know if you got a glimpse of where we played this past year at QBE Stadium. It was the best field in the whole competition, and up there with a lot of the minor league fields. So, and just this getting our Diamond Blacks team together for the last 12 years, it's kind of been finding New Zealanders that we never knew we had all over the world, and he did a really good job in doing that. And yeah, this year is going to be a tough one. I know they heavily rely on like funding and stuff from sporting agencies, and actually from the TAB is a big one. And because all MLB baseball right now is cancelled, they're not expecting to get much money from that at all. So it's going to be a trying year for baseball here. I'm not sure about the way that the ABL will play out, considering will travel be open. Hopefully that bubble with Australia allows us to go back and forward. But yeah, a bit of an interesting year. They're trying to do all these new initiatives with baseballs in school, and trying to grow like the grassroots a little bit more, when before they're probably maybe a little bit more focused on us hiring players and not too worried about the young kids. But a bunch of us have been talking about, to really grow the sport, you really have to start getting the numbers as well as the talents. So well, we do have good fields and stuff. So yeah, the biggest thing now is just getting people aware that baseball is available.
So basically build it and they will come. As the movie goes, there's some great facilities in the prospect of people turning up and going, well, they are taking this seriously. We can play this and do it properly.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, and the fact that there is the Tuatara. I mean, when I grew up, thinking about baseball was kind of a pipe dream, where it's something over the other side of the world, and where obviously cricket's right in front of you, and there was no real good level baseball to see here. So the fact that kids now can go to a Tuatara game and see, I mean, a lot of my teammates will end up, or could have ended up in the major leagues this year. They're seeing major league talent players, and we had some ex-major league guys already in our team. So just to be able to see that right in front of them means that they'll almost feel it's more attainable for them.
And the Tuataras, mate. I know nothing about the Tuataras. Give me a background on that. Give me the when did that become a thing? And look, I've been out of the country for just over 10 years, sort of full time. So I have, while I know what's going on mainstream, I know what's going on in most of the sort of the news media. The Tuataras hasn't until I spoke with Peter McGlash, and I didn't even know of such a team called the Auckland Tuataras. So this is still kind of new to me. How long has the Tuataras been around, and how are they going? What's going on with that?
So 18-19 was their first season, and it was quite a challenging year. We didn't really have a home field, so we played our home series all at the start, and then the team went on the road for the next 8 weeks, I think it was. So it was a lot more challenging.
They play in the Australian League, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar like the Breakers or the Warriors.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, so we were based in Australia, and we just go from city to city, live in hotels. So wasn't a very good year last year. We didn't do all that well, but I think we learned a lot, and a couple of breaks. Something could have changed, but I think they learned a lot this year. So they brought in some good players, and we actually won our division this year, which was pretty cool, and reached the semi-final and had a home semi-final, which was a pretty cool thing, in front of like the biggest crowd we've had for a baseball ground game, which was like 4,500. Nothing compared to cricket, but
wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was actually really cool having everyone there, and everyone actually caring about it. Like when I was playing over in other countries, the people would get into it, but it was different. It was like more people felt passionate, and really, I guess New Zealanders are pretty good supporters when we really get into stuff.
Oh, as long as you're winning.
Yep, that's true. We did lose the semi-final though. So.
So what's how far can this as a professional team, Tuataras, or semi-professional?
Yeah, semi-professional.
Semi. So you said most of you guys have still got regular full-time jobs, etc. But how far can that go? Is there the obvious dream is to have it as a professional team and funded through sponsorships and maybe some government money, but how far can it go? Can the Tuataras grow the Diamond Blacks, and is that a natural feeding ground, or do you lose too many players overseas to keep growing that Tuataras team?
So the Tuatara is a team that's played in they call it the Winter League. So when the MLB is not running, they'll send players over here. So we have a few guys now that are signed with MLB teams. One of them, Kyle Glogowski, played for us this past year and the year before. He's with the Phillies, and he's got a real chance of making the major leagues in the next couple of years. And he's only 20 years old. He's starring mid-90s now, and he's with the Philadelphia Phillies, and he's doing some really good things. And then we had a guy, Ben Thompson, who's with the Atlanta Braves, I think. And he's probably our best prospect. He's 6 foot, something huge, and throwing 95, 96 with like good movement on it. So he's going to have a good future.
There's a thing in cricket that you can bowl as fast as you want, but if you don't move it, if you don't shift it off the straight, it doesn't really matter. That obviously plays out in baseball as well. If you can pitch mid to late 90s, yeah, cool, fine. But if you can't shift it off the straight, you're still going to get hit. Does that cross over into baseball?
Yeah, if you're throwing high 90s, though, you'll probably be all right. There are people in the major leagues throwing like high 80s, and they're really guys that rely on the movement back and forward, left and right, up and down. Not up, because that would defy gravity.
That's gravity defy.
Yeah. So, those guys more rely on it. There are guys who throw close to 100 with movement, and that's unfair. There's a guy who plays for the Cardinals, Hicks, his last name. He's their closer. Yeah. This year, I think he threw 106 miles an hour. And this ball he threw moves like a foot as well. And you can see, if you watch it on YouTube, it's just like unfair. And the catcher can barely catch it. And it's getting a little bit crazy, because every year they're getting faster and faster. And the kids are getting more surgeries and stuff too.
So is because cricket, the speed of bowling in cricket hasn't really changed for quite some time. The average speed certainly is a lot higher than it used to be, but the actual overall upper end speed hasn't really changed. Is baseball getting quicker? Are the pitchers chucking it harder?
Yeah, they kind of, well, probably about 20 years ago, everyone was in the 80s. And there would be the odd guy throwing mid 90s.
About 20 years ago, they were starting to learn steroids.
It's true. The good steroid era.
Yeah.
Most of them were hitters that were using those.
Yeah, I know.
They were the ones hitting the ball over the fence. The pitching's just getting crazy. I guess they're just breeding them different in the Dominican, and they're just coming out with these guys. Everyone's pumping close to 100 miles an hour, and if you're not throwing nearly 100 or mid 90s at the moment, you're just not really getting a look into the major leagues. Everyone's there, and I guess just because it's a numbers game where they've got so many people that can just push each other, that if you're not throwing 95, you got to work harder, and you might blow out, and if you blow out, then you blow out.
Yeah, it is a very disposable sort of sport, and cricket is not quite as disposable in that sort of regard. Baseball is, if you blow out, catch you later, see you later, come back if you can. But it's
especially in New Zealand, it's probably a little bit harder for you cricketers.
Well, yeah, but it is like if you get injured, you always looked after, you always cared for in terms of trying to get back to your fitness. Baseball kind of seems a little bit more disposable in that way because you just buy another player, and when you certainly get to MLB standard.
It largely depends on how much they would have invested into you initially. So a lot of the time when you're signing contracts with MLB teams, you actually want to make them a good contract, because if it's a small contract, you won't get looked after. You'll get put behind people who they've invested more money into because they just want to protect their assets almost. So, making sure you sign a good contract means that they'll look after you forever.
Yeah. Is there, how does that work? So you just play a bit of baseball around Auckland, and how does that scouting work? How do people get picked up? Is there quite a few? I mean, YouTube and things like that makes it a lot easier to see and to get seen. But do scouts come over to New Zealand, or is there scouts already based here that are involved in baseball already?
So I'm a scout for the Kansas City Royals, and I'm like almost I have a boss who is a boss who is a boss who is a boss who's a boss. Yeah. And there's a few of us here in New Zealand that basically just tell people, hey, this kid's worth a look. And there's basically if you want to get a look here, you have to play for the New Zealand teams that go overseas. We have almost one every year for most age groups. So the kids are getting the opportunity now, and if they're not getting signed, they can always go off to college still, which I still think is the best avenue for most kids, because even if you do make it to professional baseball, the chances that you get to the major leagues is still very, very low percentage.
Yeah. So how do so government funding and things like that? Yeah, is the sport big enough to sort of pick up on that, or is it mostly through like you said through gambling money and sort of local sponsorships? Any government stuff?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not on the Baseball New Zealand board. I know right now we got John Follett. I don't know if you know him. He used to be the Sky Television CEO.
Okay.
I'm sure you would have met him at some point.
Sure.
And he's now our CEO of Baseball New Zealand. So he's got some good contacts. So I'm hoping that he's going to be able to do some good things there.
So more TV time. Has there been much of it on TV for Tuatara?
Yeah, all of our home games are on Sky.
Sweet.
That's what the Australian Baseball League really like about Tuatara, is the fact that we've got good broadcasting rights, and that people are viewing and people are betting on it because people like to bet. So
because it's on TV,
because it's on TV, and they're just sitting at home drinking a beer, so why not? Yeah. And so the other teams, they're trying to get these deals done, but most of them just played on YouTube right now.
So there's a chance of a media career at the end of it, maybe on the back of when you finish playing and end up in a commentary box talking about it. That's the dream, isn't it?
I think when I'm done playing, I'm really gonna just step back and maybe I'll coach my kids when they get a little bit older. But my oldest one's actually pretty good already.
Yeah.
And he's only 3. So.
3, yeah. Just wants to hit stuff, but there is a growing that becomes another avenue for players to think about, is media, given that it is on TV and given that there is a pathway. So it does open up another employment after finishing, maybe if you get pretty decent, which is kind of cool from a baseball's perspective, because it hasn't really happened in New Zealand like that.
Yeah, but I'm quite nervous. I don't really like talking.
Yeah.
I think I've got better in the last couple of years, but I actually really don't enjoy doing interviews. So I think if I had to be a commentator.
Well, luckily we're just having a chat and I'm just learning about baseball. That's sweet then, isn't it?
Yeah, other than the big recording button on the side there.
Can't see that.
Yeah, I mean, be a guest speaker, I think, if they
Yeah.
ever needed something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's but look, I think that's cool, because there is, it sounds like it is growing in New Zealand, which is awesome. That's more options and more opportunities is brilliant. And as a kid, I played every sport I could get my hands on. So I was in summers, I was doing cricket in the nets with my mates, but I was playing softball in organized for a club. But the access to sports and facilities in New Zealand is, we are very, very fortunate in terms of a lot of our stuff is council owned, which means anyone can go and use it when it's not being used by a team or a club. So that must help you guys, especially with the you said there's 3 grounds now, 3 or 4 new grounds in Auckland, or 3 or 4 new diamonds up there.
Yeah, the Howard Packer Anfield, there's 3 diamonds, just at Lloyd Elsmore there. So.
Yeah.
I
Do
think
they cross over? Are you like in cricket, on a big park, you end up at square leg and point in the other game? Do they boundaries, do the fences, well, not fences, but do they cross over, or has you got individual spaces for it?
Yeah, we got individual spaces.
Okay.
That's probably one of the better things about not having so many player numbers. We can get our own field.
So how much cricket did you play? I mean, you said you loved it, and you were, when I was talking to Peter McGlashan, he just said you were a massive cricket fan, and that cracks me up, because here you are playing baseball. But how much did you play, or how much, what did you play as a kid, or?
They used to say I was the next Scott Styris, but I never played a game, so I think it was just because I looked pretty good. And I think that was a joke. It's a win. It's a win. A joke. No, I never actually played cricket. I played indoor cricket for fun. With a name drop, Jimmy Neesham was on our team, so we were kind of a pretty good team. Actually, the day he got called up, he just told us before the game, and we said don't play. And my mate bowls a half tracker, squares him up in the head, and runs off, puts ice on it, and we're just like, oh my god, what have we done?
Yeah.
But other than that, no, I never really played cricket at all. I just love watching it, and I love watching Test match cricket. And it was basically when you were playing was kind of when I was really into it, and I was just I'd have it on the radio, and I'd just be listening to every ball, and I think I was painting houses at that point, just trying to make some money in between jobs. So
but it does match up with baseball in its sort of in its pace of the game, doesn't it? So did you get to watch much baseball? I mean, it's a sort of afternoon time for night games in the US, isn't it? Afternoon in New Zealand for night games, so it kind of works out okay to watch.
Yeah, when I was a bit older, when I was a kid, there was no internet really. You had to dial up thing, so I don't know if they even streamed it back then, but my family didn't have Sky, so I just basically just watched baseball movies one after the other. And every time my dad would go over to the States, and he worked a job where he had to travel a bit, so he'd bring me back a cool little baseball glove or a Cleveland Indians t-shirt or something like that. So I actually got that Cleveland Indians t-shirt, that's why I said it. And I mean, I just fell in love with something that wasn't there, and it was kind of strange.
That's cool. So go back to when you were pitching and when you were playing. Now, we cricketers watch a lot of baseball because, again, the skill sets are kind of similar. There's a bowler, a pitcher, there's a batter, a batsman, and so the matchups are kind of very easy for us to get and to understand. You pitched and that hurt, but how much control? Because this blows us away. The control that a pitcher has. I was talking to Shane Bond yesterday, and he says the ball that he bowled Gilchrist with, he missed where he wanted it to go by about 5 meters. So in terms of what he was trying to bowl and what actually happened, well, kind of random and just a bit of a lottery sometimes. What sort of how do you guys get that control that we as cricket bowlers can't? What's the difference? Is it just the bent arm, or have you had any thought about that?
I actually don't know the exact reason. It's just like
Yeah.
when you guys throw down the stumps, you're not bowling at the stumps.
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of has more of a natural feel when they're throwing the ball properly. And yeah, I guess the fact that you're not sprinting is probably another reason that it's a little bit easier to control.
True.
When you guys running a million miles an hour and then trying to find that release point, it's probably a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
So having yourself more stationary and controlled as you deliver probably would help that as well.
But the bad days must have happened when you're pitching as well. So when you're bowling in cricket and you're having a bad day, when you're having a real bad day, there's nowhere to hide because you still have to bowl a few overs because that's how it works. In baseball, you're having a bad day, you get pulled out pretty quick. But you must have had a few bad days as well. A lot of these chats are sort of about the negative side of what we do that doesn't get highlighted. But you must have had some horrible days, and you just can't find it, can't find the radar, and it won't work, and it won't hit the catcher's glove. What were you like on those sort of days?
Yeah, I've had some absolute howlers in my time. Probably the most memorable one was my first start when I was pitcher for the Bandits and for Brisbane.
Mm-hmm.
I had not allowed a run for my first 11 innings as a reliever, and so I was doing pretty good. And then turned me into a starter and gave up 7 runs. And baseball's so stats driven, where you go from an ERA of 0 to an ERA of close to 6, which is not very good.
Yep.
Just in one day, and probably the mental battle of that is not just at the time of playing. I mean, when it's happening, it happens pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's more of what it will do to you after the game, and how you kind of mentally recover for that and prepare yourself for the next game. I'd say is the biggest issue of when you're giving up runs, because no one likes to give up runs, and you do feel like everyone's looking at you when you're right there in the middle. This is probably why I was a lousy pitcher and I'm a better hitter. Just a poor mental breakdown. But yeah, in the end, it's the bat versus the ball, and I think it's why every cricket and baseball player likes their sport, is because it's you versus that batter, and it's a challenge, and it's a man on man or woman on woman, or that battle where you just got to beat that person. And yeah, I think that's why I really enjoy. I don't know where I've gone with this story, but I'm sure you'll bring it back.
No, but the thing is, the bad days happen, and somehow you got to try and control them and make them average days. So you take it. Everyone wants a good day. Everyone wants a very, very good day. But often it's about controlling the bad day and making sure it's not horrible and making sure it's just bad. What did you do to try and keep those days when it wasn't going good? So you try and limit the damage. What were you trying to do then?
Yeah, so the main advice that I give all my kids as well is think about the next pitch. So no matter what's happened, and it's so much easier to say than do, but no matter what's happened the previous one, he's hit a home run, you've thrown 10 straight balls, the guy's just hit 3 home runs in a row, whatever it is, think about that pitch and just executing it. If he hits another home run, they do. And yeah, just not looking in the past, just looking forward is probably the only way you can really keep moving.
I've just realised that if you throw something horrible and they hit it over the fence, you don't have to pitch to them the next one, do you? So that's actually quite handy.
That's true. Yeah, that is probably the best thing about baseball. The guy hits the home run, he does have to run around the bases in front of you, so that hurts a little bit.
Yeah, but you don't have to line up and pitch to him. I used to so bowling to Sevag from India. He gave me the scares, and I found it very hard to bowl to him because I was petrified of where he was going to hit me, which then made me bowl poorly. But would have been great if I could have just, okay, take your one run and I don't have to pitch to you again for quite a wee while. That, I think I've only just realised that, and I should have stuck with softball and I should have kept on with that, because that's a massive difference.
I think probably the difference is that they in cricket they'll score 500 runs. In baseball.
I know. Shh. I'm just trying to make myself think of what could have been if I could have not had to bowl to him every, ball after ball. My man, that's cool. Pardon?
Same probably could have given a few home runs in his time.
Yeah, mate, he was horrible. I couldn't struggle. Do you get many cricket guys coming to any sort of any ex-professionals or younger guys that have sort of fallen out of the cricket system? You get quite a few of those coming through?
We had I don't want to get this guy in trouble. I don't know his name. He's one of the best players for Auckland.
Yeah.
And he decided halfway through our season that he wanted to give it a crack, so he came on down.
Cool.
And had a run around. He wasn't too bad. Obviously, would need probably a year or so to kind of work on his mechanics, but it was kind of cool to have him down. The year before we had Martin Guptill. He came down to do a home run derby with me.
Yeah.
And they made it that he won, but he didn't actually win.
Sure.
They kind of re-edited it, so they made him look like he was a legend, but it was me.
It was you. Well, there's some similarities between you and Martin. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's quite a few cricketers that just try it, but nothing really. Oh, I think Daryl Tuffy came down to a couple of our games.
Yeah.
A few years ago. I think he plays over in Australia at the moment.
Yeah. No, he was a biggie. He was a biggie. We'd all warm up so a lot of our warm ups would start with baseball gloves and a ball, and we'd just throw to each other for sort of 10 minutes, and it always ended up trying to out curveball each other and out sinker each other, and Tuffy, Vittori, and Franklin, and it was it was quite good fun, and learning how to throw all the different the baseball. The movement you can get with a cricket ball that's only got one seam versus a baseball is there's some fun physics and fun mechanics going on with baseball pitching, man.
Yeah, it's all about finger pressure and kind of manipulating the ball, which was my favorite thing about pitching.
Yeah.
It was just every day, every time I went to the ballpark, just trying to figure out a new pitch and make a pitch do something different and make the pitch a little bit better. So.
Is there still new pitches sort of being come up with? I mean, there was always the slower ball in cricket is always sort of changing and evolving, and then going back and then changing and evolving. Is there new pitches coming through in baseball in that way?
Probably not new pitches. There's pitches that come in and out of fashion a little bit, where and probably with the increase of velocity, you're seeing different pitches be more effective.
Sure.
When people were throwing slower, they would try to throw like a loopy curveball.
Yeah.
Where now it's more of like a hard slider.
Yeah.
Where everything's quick coming at you rather than something that's going to give you more time. But yeah, I think the knuckleballs kind of died out, which it's kind of made a comeback or come into cricket.
Yeah, cricket's made that cool again, but in baseball, knuckleball is sort of slipping away, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's because the catchers can't catch it. And it's because the catchers can't catch it. It ends up getting past the catcher because it's horrible and it just dies and it doesn't arrive.
That's true. I think it must be a pretty hard pitch to throw day in, day out. On the day that you're out there playing catch just with the glove, it'll work nicely, but then you might have some pretty horror days.
But it is, mate. Look, I used to love, one of my favourite things about playing cricket was getting the gloves on and just chucking cricket balls to each other in the same way that you guys, you pick up your gloves and chuck a baseball at each other. But there is just the joy of that slap as it hits the leather in your glove and it doesn't hurt. And then you just biff another one back to your mate. There's a real sort of meditative, just catch a ball, chuck a ball sort of quality to that I just absolutely love, and I miss that. You still enjoy just doing that, even with your shoulder?
Yeah, I love playing catch. It doesn't actually hurt until I go like above 60%. So
yeah, okay. Yeah.
I'm happy just lobbing the ball over. Looking forward to doing that with my boys when they get a bit older too.
Yeah.
That'll be kind of fun.
But it's just awesome. I just love that slap as it hits the glove, and it just makes a good noise, and chuck it back, and just trying to outdo each other with changes of pace, man. Hey, look, thanks for today. This has been awesome. This is an insight into a sport that I don't really know that well from a how it's set up in New Zealand. So this has been really cool. Now, but you have a shop as well. What? I got in touch with you because I saw a hat that so Peter McGlashan had a hat on that I really liked. He said it was the New Zealand baseball one. I've got one on order somewhere. If it gets sent out at some stage because of all the things down. But the shop's going good as well as the hitting cages.
Well, not at the moment. We've been closed for a month.
But it's all going.
It's been good. We got good products, and we got the best friendliest staff in all of New Zealand. So,
what was the name of the shop again? Just give us a drop, mate. You can.
The Fieldhouse.
That's right. I've forgotten what it was called. It's been so long ago that I ordered that hat. My man, thank you. I ordered it and then forgot that postage wasn't going to happen because New Zealand sort of, we can't run businesses like that during the lockdown. So I look forward to when it gets here, whenever that is. Hey man, thank you so much. That's been really cool. It's a cool sort of insight and a little bit of a look at a smaller sport. Off the radar in a little compared to cricket, if you like. But mate, thank you for your time. Thanks for this, and hope the rest of lockdown goes good, and have fun with the wife and kids.
Great, thanks, mate. Nice talking to you.
That's awesome. Hi, Ian O'Brien here. Thanks for getting to the end of this 108 with IOB. I'd appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe, please. But also leave us a message down below in the comments about what was your most interesting or favourite part of this chat. Thanks a lot. Love ya.